right, Catherine, I've let everybody that was in the waiting room in. There is 37 people in the meeting, and it's up to you when you want to proceed with starting the meeting. But I think looks like a couple people are still connecting to audio, but everybody else appears to be ready to go.
Skyler, have you asked for public, who's doing public comment, or?
I haven't. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is when we get to that period of time, I'll ask people to raise their hand or give a reaction or just unmute themselves in turn and offer public comment unless there's other suggestions. But if anybody wants to do so right now, I'll try to scan and jot down names of folks that want to offer public comment. You can also email the email address info@sunsetempire.com and we will add you to the list.
This is Marty Weiss. I would like to be added to that list.
Okay, thanks, Marty.
Nicole Sturgill, I would, please.
Okay.
Adam raised his hand to Skyler.
Adam Israel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sarah Brown, Skyler.
Sarah.
Not,
Thanks, Sarah.
I don't care that they can't see me, quite frankly.
This is Tita Montero. Add me to the list, please. I didn't get an acknowledgement. Did you hear me?
I did hear you.
I asked to be added to the list, please.
You are on the list.
Randy Franker, I'd like to make a comment.
Okay. Got you, Randy.
Patrick Duhachek, I'd like to make comment.
You pushed it on the wrong thing. You made it on the little one.
Okay. Are there any other folks that would like to make public comment? If so, feel free
You
to
should have
unmute-
me on your
unmute.
list.
What's that?
You should have me on your list, right?
I do. I have you first, John.
Thank you.
Skyler, I know Neil Branson was going to give public comment. I'm just not sure if he knows how to unmute. Neil, can you hear us?
I do see a Neil in the meeting. I'll put his name down and maybe we can
Okay.
help facilitate unmuting at that right time.
Yeah, Skyler, I don't know if you caught me. Patrick Duhachek, I'd like to give comment.
Yep, I got you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Mhm. Any other folks like to give public comment? And we can add more if we have late arrivers or if you change your mind. All right, we have 9 people on the list, Madam President.
Okay, and just a reminder to everyone as a housekeeping rule to please mute yourself while we are speaking. Thank you.
And Catherine, I'm not sure if this should come now, but I would like to make a suggestion about an amendment to the agenda, make a motion to move the calendar updates to before the executive session, just so that people do not have to come back on the line to hear those calendar updates. Can I move that now or should I wait?
I
think you want to wait till you've called the meeting to order.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah,
great.
This is Diane Wells. Excuse me, I have something to say about the minutes of the last meeting. I think that comes after, public comment comes after that. So when do I speak up about that?
Diane, you can submit those comments to Skyler or submit them during public comment. But right now we are starting our meeting.
Scott, Neil, I can see you now. Did you want to give public comment? Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would like to, in due time, I'll see if I need to.
Okay.
All right, I call this meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Declaration of potential conflict of interest. Celeste?
No conflict.
Erica?
No conflict.
Stu,
Conflict.
Mike,
No conflict, thank you.
and none for myself. We are going to start off with recognition of this month's SEPRD Employee of the Month. And just a reminder to please mute yourself. This month's Employee of the Month is Jared Murray. Our employee, Jared Murray, who works for the maintenance department and as a custodian for the youth programs. Jared joined the district's maintenance team in December 2019 with his primary duties in the custodial field. His strong work ethic and passion for cleanliness can be seen throughout our facilities on a daily basis. Jared takes great pride in deep cleaning all areas that are not readily seen, like behind and underneath office furniture, high dusting, scrubbing trash cans, etc. Jared has played an integral part in the emergency childcare program since the COVID pandemic began, said Levi Connor, maintenance manager. I am honored to have Jared as part of the maintenance team here at SEPRD. Thank you for all that you do, Jared. Approval of board meeting minutes for November 17th, December 8th, board workshop from November 5th and November 23rd. Has everybody had a chance to review? Celeste?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep, I can
Have
hear.
we had a chance to review the meeting minutes?
Would you
So
like
I-
a motion for each group of minutes
Yes.
separately?
Yes, please.
I move we accept the minutes for November 17th.
I second.
Celeste seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have a motion for December 8th?
I move that we approve the minutes of the workshop December 8th.
I'll second.
Celeste seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Do we have the November 5th? Oh, I'm sorry. I cut out there for a second. Did we have a motion for November 5th?
Oh, okay.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. November 23rd.
November 21st.
23rd.
I move we accept those minutes.
I second.
Sue seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Skyler, can you go ahead and read the public rules of decorum?
Yes, absolutely. It says, in advance of the public comment period, the Board of Directors wishes to extend a thank you to citizens who participate in providing feedback to the district. It is an important goal of SEPRD's public meetings to encourage discourse and engagement from our communities. It is important we hear the voices and concerns of citizens in order to best serve them. However, it is also imperative that we maintain a respectful and productive environment that allows all voices to be heard. I'm going to skip this part because in our Zoom meetings, the speakers haven't been able to follow and sign the standard rules for decorum. But it does say a copy of the district's public comment rules for decorum are available in the lobby or on the district SEPRD website on the board page. Each speaker is allotted 3 minutes to speak. And our first speaker is John Huisman. And if you give me a second, I will pull up a timer that you can all refer to during your public comment.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's Huisman. Just small correction there. Shall we begin?
Yep, whenever you're ready.
I want to take issue today with something that Skyler wrote in the Seaside Signal. He said something interesting. He said SERPD's competence and integrity are questioned with no basis in fact. Well, yes, their competence and integrity are questioned, but let's talk about the basis in fact. First of all, let's talk about how you've taken care of the pool. And since you've gotten here, Skyler, it's gone nothing but downhill. The destruction of the men's locker room back in 2017. Oh, I know you like to call that a renovation, but that's an insult to every man that has to use that pool. You've destroyed it, and yet nothing's done to fix it. You can spend $2.5 million on something, but you can't fix the men's locker room and make it something decent again. That's competence. How about keeping the warm water pool closed for 2 months this year when there were parts on the shelf readily available? That's competence. The pool building is dirty all the time compared to what it used to be. And you allow your aquatics manager to hide in his office. We never see him. Previous aquatics manager we used to see. This is competence. This is how you take care of the pool, and you want to take on a 73,000 square foot building? How are you going to do that, Skyler? And how are you board going to make sure that he does it? Let's talk about integrity for a minute. You know, last month I said I thought it was selfishness on your part, and I've really done a lot of thinking about it. But what it is, it's a matter of lack of integrity in going to spend the city's money on a school that's already been paid for. If you had integrity, you'd be going to the voters. The voters are the ones that own you. The voters are the ones that own the school. Taxpayers. And if you had any integrity at all on this board, and you, Skyler, you'd be going to do that. You asked a lot of questions about, oh, what would you like to have? You didn't ask one question, how much more are you willing to pay in taxes every year? I'm on a fixed income, as a lot of other people are. And in case you didn't notice, a lot of people are out of work here. A lot of people are suffering. A lot of people are hungry. And you want to raise our taxes. This is what's going to happen no matter how you cut it. All I can suggest is if you keep going the way you are and you go through with this, probably all of you will be looking to do something else next June 30th when you're tossed off the board, because the taxpayers aren't going to stand for this. I can promise you that much. I've talked to enough of them. They're angry. That's why they're angry and talking to you.
Thank you, John.
Skyler, if you're calling the next person, I think you're muted.
Sorry, thank you. Next person is Marty Weiss.
There you go. Here I am. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Excellent. I understand that the board's come up with a cookie color fill in the blank letter in response to those taxpayers who have contacted them to voice their concerns about the purchase of the middle school. The letter says not to worry, taxes won't go up, blah, blah, blah. Well, I, for one, would like to know what the plan is. Why has Skyler refused to share inspection reports with the public, being the taxpayers, who are going to end up paying through the nose for this? The building, the middle school, is 71 years old, and I know it's going to need renovating. I'd like to know how the renovations are going to be paid. What's going to, what are we doing? I also have a question. I noticed one of our board members comes and does the Tuesday, Thursday class with Zoe. And that I'm just wondering, because there is a poster in the ladies' bathroom as you go out, Sue, that says a shower is required. And I'm just wondering how you're doing that shower by going in and sitting in the bleachers and then entering the pool without a shower. I thought the rules were for everybody. Yes. I mean, I saw you this morning just hanging out in the bleachers and you went right into the pool with no visit to the locker room. Either before or after.
Madam Chair, I think this is bordering on a personal attack.
No, not necessarily. Please don't make it into that, Celeste. Please don't make it into that. I'm just wondering why Sue doesn't have to follow the rules. That's all.
I did follow the rules, Marty. I am in 2 classes. I'm in 2 classes every day, Monday through Friday. And they have said when you're in 2 classes, you don't have to shower twice.
Okay, so then you're sitting, then you're getting out of the pool from the 7 o'clock class or the 8 o'clock class and waiting for the 9 to begin. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, then I stand corrected. I apologize. I did not know that. I just saw you sitting there. I had no idea that you were in a class already.
And you probably saw me shivering because I was cold.
Actually, no, I didn't notice that. You had a coat on, so I didn't notice that you were shivering. But I apologize. I had no idea that that was the case.
I don't want to take your time, Marty. Go ahead and keep speaking.
I'm going to, thank you. In any event, I am against the purchase of the middle school. I agree with John Huesman. I am on a fixed income. I cannot afford to pay any more. My taxes went through the ceiling with the new school that we're building, and it goes on and on and on. The voters voted already no on this, and I asked the board to cease and desist and not purchase the middle school. Thank you.
All right, just one second. Trying to figure out who's next. Next person is Nicole Sturgill.
All right. So my name's Nicole Sturgill, and I'm a Gerhardt resident, a registered nurse, a small business owner, and more importantly, a mother to 3 children ages 9, 3, and 9 months. I'm also a youth coach through Seaside Kids, Riptide Softball, Pacific Basketball League, and Lower Columbia Youth Soccer. Through both coaching children throughout this community, as well as my own children's participation in activities associated with Sunset Parks, I have witnessed the benefits of youth programs and activities firsthand. Kids who establish healthy lifestyle patterns at a young age will carry these habits and their benefits forward with them for the rest of their lives. The kids in our community deserve indoor spaces, fields, gyms, and healthy, supportive environments to grow and thrive just as much as those in larger cities where resources are more readily available. My first experience with Sunset Parks as an adult was with my daughter Berkeley when she was 4 years old. She participated in Start Smart basketball program offered by Sunset Parks. Broadway's gym and cafeteria were both used for this program. It was her first introduction to team sports and was absolutely instrumental in introducing her to teamwork, cooperation, and becoming coachable. We couldn't have asked for a more positive experience or environment for her first interaction with organized sports. She has since completed swimming lessons and participates on the Seaside swim team. The time, dedication, and commitment to our children and their safety that the staff at Sunset Parks puts forth is invaluable. The confidence, discipline, and dedication that these programs instill in our children is even more invaluable. My son Chance, who you just saw, also attends the Learning Ladder preschool. Quality childcare on the North Coast is limited and very difficult to find. Having a safe, healthy learning environment is not only beneficial for our children, but is also essential for parents throughout this community that need childcare in order to provide for their families. There is no better feeling than feeling comfortable with the providers and teachers you entrust with your kids. This first interaction in a classroom also sets the stage for success from a young age. Being able to expand these types of programs is needed and would be a huge benefit to the community. Last summer, Riptide Softball was able to host several fall softball games and tournaments at Broadway Field. With limited fields throughout the community, this was greatly appreciated. Seaside Kids and Riptide Softball both appreciate and hope to continue this relationship. I can tell you that the girls I coached last fall far exceeded my expectations in the short amount of time I was able to work with them. And the teamwork, leadership, self-confidence, and friendships they created was by far the best experience they've had since the pandemic began. I'm going to skip a little bit. As a parent with young kids, I'm extremely concerned with the lack of indoor space. With the purchase of Broadway, I truly believe that Sunset Parks will have the physical space to grow and expand the services they provide. I absolutely support Sunset Parks and their goal to expand and purchase Broadway. The kids in our community would benefit and they deserve it.
Thank you, Nicole.
Okay, next on the list is Adam Israel.
Well, Nicole took mine, clearly. Adam Israel, longtime resident here, business owner, and human being, own a mortgage company now. And I've coached for the last 7 to 8 years in this area. And I can say 100% certainty that if kids do not have after school sports or programs or things to go to, idle hands are not a good thing in this area. I've got a crew of kids that I've coached for 3 or 4 years and in every single sport. And I've got those kids right now, they're just want to get together. They want to have activities to do. And after this pandemic, it's going to be a tough thing to get some of these kids back. And I've even seen it at my house, kind of force my kids to do activities because if they don't have something to do, they're going to sit there and they're going to play video games and they're not going to be productive. And I'm a big supporter of this. I think I understand the fixed income and I understand all that, but I think that the repercussions of not having activities and things for our kids to do, especially in a climate where it rains 6-7 months of the year, kids always can't go outside. And I've always said, it's either sports or activities, or the alternative is, drugs and bad things for kids. So I think just having more organized activities and things for the kids to do, it's not a bad thing. And I'm in full support of it.
Thank you, Adam.
The next person is Sarah Brown.
Thanks, Skyler, and thanks to the board for the opportunity to speak today. I'm just going to jump in and I'm going to hope that all of the naysayers to the purchase of Broadway are not against having a place for kids to go. I think that you guys appreciate that our children in the county on a whole, but especially South County, don't have a place to go after school, don't have a place to be on the weekends, especially when with the sale of all the schools, won't have a place to host tournaments or play sports, have practice. So I'm going to work on the assumption that you guys are in support of that and just concerned about the financial impact to your fixed incomes or your taxes. But while considering your financial impact, I want you to consider the emotional impact for our kids, especially through COVID. So John, you mentioned, that people are suffering and hungry, out of work. Those same people most often have kids in home. So I want you to really take a moment to imagine what those households are like. And it makes me emotional thinking about the impact on these kids and that having to be remote, do school online, not have a place to be with their friends, and then also be hungry and also be suffering. And so imagine if you're a child in these positions and you're asking for, support of the community, nothing even financially at the moment. We are not asking for anything from taxpayers, but just the support of your community to provide a place for you to go. So just kind of dig deep and think about, am I really worried about making it if there's a slight increase to taxes in the future, potentially? Or can I really make a space in my heart for these kids to have a place to go, to have a place to look forward to have something they can hold on to? Not to mention the childcare. Nicole mentioned how increasingly crucial that is in our community. There is such limited access, so expensive. If you want people to be working in our community, paying taxes to help with these costs, they needed childcare. And this purchase of Broadway is going to provide an access lane for that. And not to mention sustainability. So I know that there is going to be a plan. I know Skyler has been working on a plan. There's going to be a rollout of this. You can't expect that. To think that it's just willy-nilly is just absolutely silly on your part. But knowing that if you actually call to action your community members, and instead of being critical and saying all these things are wrong with what you're doing, ask the question, how can I help make this happen? You know, instead of saying I'm on a fixed income and this is going to kill me, well, let's turn the script there and say, okay, what can I do to make this a possibility that won't have such a negative impact on each individual in the community? But what can I do to help? How can I volunteer to make the, you know, renovate the building? How can I volunteer and rally the troops? How can I volunteer for donations? So ask yourself how you can help instead of how you can hinder this purchase. And I am in full support of Sunset Empire taking on Broadway, and I want to do anything I can in my power to help support it.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right, the next person is Tita Montero.
As always, I am speaking as a private citizen. This is not about SEPRD. The issue is not about sports or the performance of the SEPRD employees. It's not about kids, and it's not about hindering or helping. It's all about putting this very important decision to the taxpayers and voters, and allowing those who own the district make the decision whether or not to further indebt the district, because this is a major indebtedness. It could be, it's 2.5 plus 5 to 8 million. It's important regarding what's available. It's important regarding indebtedness in the future and the voters and taxpayers making the decision. And it's important giving them the full, unvarnished aspects of what this purchase would entail. The issue here is giving people the ability to vote, that the people who own the district. We have a petition, and I'm going to read some names off of that petition. This will be going to the board members. Mike Davies, Margene Ridout, Rick Vandenberg, Leslie Peterson, Sandra Williams, Zoe DeMassis, Richard Bell, Catherine Lund, James Alston, Mary Kettner, Sharon Ward, Janelle Schoonmaker, Callie Lopez, Mike Madsen, Susan Romersa, Greg Wells, Anna Thompson, Kathy Montanaro, McKay Edison, Mike Davies, Nathaniel Cooper, Frederick Causer, Robert Gazewood, Kathleen Samsel, Prudence Swan, Bert Swan, Arizona Edmonds, Ferdinando Martinez, Jeff Womack, Rod Wells, Dave Corpora, Kenneth Ward, Rollin Archer, David and Paula Stimack. All of these people want to have the ability to vote on this decision and make the decision. They may be all in favor of what's going on. We don't know. What we know is people want to have the decision-making power, which is their right as taxpayers. Pat Lehman, Tina Seaborg, William Mount, Maya Thies, Daniel Feely, Kathy Smith. I'm down to a few seconds. Molly Hawkins, David Mushamp, Bill Carpenter, Kathleen Teeple, Jenny Cozart, Susan Stratton, Doria.
Thank you, Tita.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next person on the list is Randy Frank.
Hello, Skyler and the board. Randy Frank here, 56-year resident of Seaside. I grew up here. I attended all the schools, even some that currently do not exist anymore. My kids grew up here, and I'm very grateful for our small community. I just want to state that I've always been unopposed to the purchase of Broadway Middle School, and have stated publicly I would love to see the use of the middle school remain in the public hands. I've not ever spoken out and said that we should not purchase Broadway Middle School. However, I have asked 2 questions, and 2 questions only. I don't think I've been abusive in any of my language. I have just repeated the same questions. And number 1 is, as a business person, people operate with profit and loss statements. And I've asked to see from the district how this pencils out. Could I just see a simple equation? Here's a purchase, here's how we're going to pay for it. I've asked repeatedly over and over again. It seems to have fallen on deaf ears. I can't get an answer for that. I'm not sure why. Number two, I've asked why the district could not pull the stakeholders. That is the people paying taxes into this area, district. I know that from your survey, less than 5% of the taxpayers responded to that. I think that if someone resorts to name calling and labeling, I view that as just a form of bullying. And to say that asking for accountability is doing this, I think is a tragic way to respond to a question. I've paid tens of thousands of dollars into this district, and I feel like I'm heavily vested in it. I would like to point out that Gearhart and Cannon Beach do not belong. They do not pay in. And when I hear people from Gearhart and Cannon Beach say we need to sacrifice, okay, I've paid tens of thousands of dollars. How are you sacrificing? Have you matched what I pay into that district? And why hasn't the district, SEPRD, asked Cannon Beach and Gearhart to join? And if you have, why are they not joining? I just don't understand that. You know, I love people who volunteer and help coach. I applaud all of those who spend time with kids. I personally spent many hours on softball and soccer fields. So thank you for your due diligence.
Next on the list is Patrick Duhachek.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, no one can deny that having a viable park and rec district is an important asset to our community. No one who's opposing the Broadway Middle School purchase has denied the importance or value that Sunset Empire provides to Seaside. While I do not believe that our children are being denied or shortchanged in the activities that this community provides, there has to be a limit on the cost to taxpayers. The district taxpayers provide $1.75 million annually to Sunset Empire. Sunset Empire generates an additional $1.25 million for a total of nearly $3 million a year to the community. Sunset Empire isn't the only activity that provides recreation activities for our kids. Seaside Kids has provided over $300,000 to the community over the last 5 years. And those donations come from the same individuals and businesses that pay their taxes to Sunset Empire Park and Rec. Seaside's generous service groups also provide funding for scholarships and recreation programs. The community has also been very liberal to approve the brand new school for the children of Seaside. The $130 million school paid by a $99 million bond passed by voters 4 years ago sits on one of the most beautiful ocean view properties on the West Coast. The taxpayers of Seaside School District 10 were already contributing $16.75 million to the school every year. Additionally, the local option passed this year added an additional $1.6 million a year for the next 5 years. And that bond adds $5.19 million to the pot annually. So while the city of Seaside may rely heavily on tourism for its livelihood, the children in Seaside are not being denied, at least financially. Taxpayers are contributing $26.5 million a year towards Seaside school and park and rec districts. This equates to $17,000 per year for every school-age child in the district. So if children are being shortchanged, it's not due to funding, but how that funding is being managed. I would ask Sunset Empire to utilize this Broadway school purchase evaluation to not further in debt and expand the parks district, but to reevaluate how our existing tax dollars are utilized. And who purchases a property with only a few years of payments in the budget? Who renovates a 71-year-old building with a strategy and no sound source of financing? Why invest in an end-of-life building that taxpayers spent $130 million to get out of? This is a self-serving effort to sunset Empire Park and Rec, and not in the community's best interest.
Okay, next on the list is Neil Branson. Neil, are you there?
He's there. He's trying to find mute. You
Okay.
see, I can see him. Yeah, you're on mute. Is that the left-hand corner, Branson? There you go.
Takes a while. Okay, first off, Neil Branson here. I moved here in 1979, high school counselor from then until 2010, coached from 1979 to 2017. So I know kids. I know they need activities. I know that, especially now with COVID, those that are denied activities, it hurts them physically and psychologically. So anything the district can do to add space so kids can be active, especially indoors now, because we know our weather, I'm all for. And Sarah and Nicole and Adam really very succinctly gave a lot of good positive reasons why that should be happening. Now we have we voted for a board, and I trust the board. And if they're looking at this being a positive mood, I'm going to go with them. I've known Skyler a long time, and a number of people on the board. And consequently, like I said, I trust them. Skyler is a man of integrity. So anyone who wants to attack that, I'm sorry, I can't accept that. I guess I'll leave it with that. I'm with the board. I'm with giving kids activities. I just remember all the opposition to the skate park. There was a lot of hair pulling over that, and it has proven to be a boon for our kids. So I don't think I need to hammer this anymore. My concern are some of the negativity. I think there are excellent questions posed in a very positive manner, and I appreciate those. But attacks on Skyler and attacks on the pool are not appropriate. I use that pool a lot. I have no questions with that. Okay, thank you for the time.
Next on the list is Diane Wells.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, first thing, I want to clear up something on the minutes of the November 17th meeting. You have it here that it says she shared her desires for the BMS property to be purchased by a private buyer. And I did not say that. I said it could be purchased by a private buyer, but not that I wanted it to be. Okay, I just want to clear that up first. So I've been having some discussions or communications with the board, especially Celeste, and we've been going back and forth, and I'm just wondering why you can't work with the school district rather than against the school district. Why can't these two public entities work together? And so I asked Celeste that, and I said, who's bargaining with the school? And she didn't have an answer really for that. So I wrote the school today. I wrote the board of directors of the school district. And I'm just going to read a little excerpt of that. The school district, being a public entity, owes it to its citizens to allow the SEPRD time to develop a business plan and present it for a vote. We understand Seaside School District finds BMS of value. If SEPRD takes control of the property, because you will be able to use the lockers and the gyms when needed. But BMS is a large property in a prime location. That said, the gyms are on the least desirable part of this large piece of land. Has the district considered subdividing the property prior to sale? This corner, being all publicly owned, could serve the purposes of the city, SEPRD, and the school district if divided up to benefit all entities. This is an ideal opportunity for these three public entities in Seaside to sit down together to properly allocate the properties to best serve the public. The school district could then sell off the remaining property. This could be a win-win for all involved. We taxpayers feel the public entities which we own owe it to us to work together for the best interests of its citizens. And I'm talking about the school district and SEPRD. We ask you to withdraw from the sale of BMS at this time to allow a feasible plan to be worked out and presented to the people for a vote. So I hope we can come to a good resolution on this. I don't like the contentiousness of this. I think that this is just being rushed. And if you really can make a plan and have a good plan and present it to the people, we will vote for a good plan. We want a good plan. We just don't want what's been happening and what's been rushed. Give us a chance.
Next on the list is Bruce Olson. Bruce, are you there? Okay, if Bruce isn't there, next on the list is Al Hernandez. Al?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead, Al.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to make a couple of comments to the board and I guess to staff also. I keep hearing a lot of information about the purchase or potential purchase of the Broadway Middle School, both good and bad. I've looked on for the Zoom meetings and all the regular meetings and a lot of information, but there's a lot of things that are still outstanding in my mind. I mean, at the current moment, I'm neither for nor against it, only because there's a lack of information. And when there is a lack of information, I then tend to vote no on subject matters. Big question for me has always been, fine, the purchase price, 2.5 million, 2.2 million, 2 million thereabout. Then what's going to be the cost to renovate it? The cost to get rid of any lead paint that might be in it, the cost of asbestos remediation, the cost to get rid of any mold that may be in there. What are those costs? I hear numbers of 5 million. All I know is that from past experiences, estimates have always been low, and contractors generally build in a 15% or more contingency that they will run over it once they get in there and start doing work. So that could mean a lot of money. I've asked the questions, where is that money going to come from to repay the loan and repay for the refurbishment and the operating costs going forward? And I've gotten some vague answers, but nothing really concrete as far as a specific plan on how the money is going to be repaid. Right now, we're talking about a budget that is fully expensed. So where is the money coming from? Are we going to cut current programs? Are we going to cut out certain or downsize them? From, for example, the pool. Well, we spend about we're budgeted to lose $800,000 on the pool. So are we going to cut that down to maybe 400,000 to be able to finance it? And what's the repercussions on that? I think the board needs to really look and get all the information they can from the disclosures that have been coming in that nobody seems to have seen thus far. And I wonder, does the board really know what the disclosures say and how much it's going to cost? And if so, why hasn't that been made public, information made public to the public? It seems like they're holding on to the information, or they don't have it yet and they don't know. And if they don't know, they shouldn't be making such a big decision as far as indebting the district and the taxpayers to this huge debt that may come about. I think the board needs to spend a little bit more time, and maybe staff also, developing a plan for how they're going to repay the loans. How are they going to finance it? What projects are they going to have? Remember that any project that the Parks and Recs puts out, they lose money on. So it's not like they're going to put a project out there and make money. I think there needs to be more disclosure, more town hall meetings or Zoom meetings to answer questions, and then put it to the public. What is your answer? Yes or no? But let the public know and let them make an educated decision and advise the board at that point. Thank you.
Okay, that was the last of our public comment, unless there's others that have joined the meeting that would like to offer public comment. All right, I don't see anyone else with their hand up, Madam President. So I think, at least from my perspective, we can close public comment if the board chooses to. Katharine, are you there? You're muted.
Yes, sorry. I would like to thank everybody for their public comment. Moving on to correspondence. I did not see any additional correspondence in the packet this month. Is that correct, Skyler?
That's correct.
Okay. Reviewing the financials from November. Has everybody had a chance to review the financials?
Yes.
Any
Financials.
questions? Any questions or discussion?
I have no
Just
question.
just a reminder to the public to please mute yourselves if you are not part of the board at this time. Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the financials?
I move that we approve the financials for November.
I second. Katharine?
Sorry, I keep getting, my phone is muting me. Erica seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sue, you're muted.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you. Having internet issues today. I apologize. Old business, the SEPRD board IGA policy was included in the packet. That has everybody had a chance to review that document?
Yes.
Any questions or discussion?
No, I'm glad that they had legal review on this. I can see how it was restructured and simplified. I think this is a good policy. It's called a delegation policy.
Correct.
I move that we approve this policy.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I
Sue
should read
seconds.
the resolution number. I should say I
Yes.
move to approve resolution number 2020-11, the delegation policy.
And Sue seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Celeste, you're muted.
Apologies, aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving along. Executive Director report. Oh, sorry, missed one. New business, board governance.
Yeah, so this item was included on the board agenda after request from, I believe, Director Marshall or Director Bodnar in regards to some governance issues that the board wanted to be able to discuss in open session.
Celeste or Erica, would you like to take the floor with that one?
I apologize. This is not, I do not know what this item is. Do you, Erica?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We'll have to revisit notes because I'm not aware.
I can refresh maybe. I believe it was in response to some of the information that we learned last Tuesday when we met with Eileen Akins in our public meeting, and the usage of groups within the board to accomplish tasks and projects. and kind of a desire to make sure that our current work fits within the framework of public meeting guidelines. That's my recollection, but I can go back and look in my email, and I believe that's what you kind of wanted to address in an open meeting.
Yeah, I'm not, I think we need to revisit that and just look at what that was, because I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on, Executive Director report.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. So it seems like every couple of weeks there's a new turn in our operational status with COVID. Unfortunately, with the announcement last night or today confirmed that as of Friday, we'll need to discontinue operations at the Sunset Pool for at least 2 weeks. And we're really sad about that and sad to not be able to serve our patrons and community around this time of holidays. We will still be providing some services. The senior meal site program will continue. Our emergency childcare program will continue for a good portion of next week and the week in between the Christmas holiday and New Year's. And then our plan is to hopefully, with case counts working in our favor, reopen the pool and the district on Monday, January 4th. Again, I want to just share that while we know this isn't anyone's fault, it is difficult, obviously, for our community to not be able to use our services. It's difficult for staff that have worked really hard to maintain a safe environment and love the job that they get to do. And it's also hard on our facilities to shut down the pools, the 3 bodies of water that we maintain, and then kick them back up again in a couple of weeks. And we kind of cross our fingers that everything mechanically will work as well as it should. But that's just something that is an unfortunate kind of consequence of this pandemic. We really encourage our community to stay safe, and hopefully the case counts here in our county will go down and we'll be able to reopen and resume operations soon. I'm open to taking questions about our operational status. The other thing I wanted to mention is we do have a run or a walk, the KISS 2020 Goodbye event that we organized this year. Was supposed to be held on January 1st. And because of the guidance, we're not quite sure if we will be able to host an in-person event. So we're considering modifying that to a virtual run or postponing the event for a couple of weeks. So we'll get back to you on that, depending on what we end up deciding to do. Any questions about the district's operational status from the board?
None from me.
Okay.
I see Erica and Celeste shaking their head.
Okay.
So the January board meeting date, we had motioned at our last board meeting to change our board meetings to the second Tuesday, however, and adopt that in January. However, in January, Skyler has a conflict. So we are hoping that we will come to a consensus as a board to maintain our current third Tuesday for the month of January and then switch in February to the second Tuesday. Does that work for everybody? Celeste, I see yes.
So are we confident in, I mean, one thing I would want to make sure of, because it was brought up last time, is whether that gives enough time for like a financials to be pulled, you know, because I don't want to overburden staff if like that time frame is too much. So maybe Skyler, you could just confirm that, because I think that got brought up last time and wasn't necessarily resolved. So
yeah, I think it will, just to speak frankly, it will be difficult for Marcus, our finance manager, to have a full report compiled at that point, just because of the way that our
monthly reporting get
broken down and the timing of the pay periods and all that. So what we've suggested maybe to him, and I think he's considering this as a solution, is just modifying the reporting period so that it's not necessarily from the end of the month. So for instance, in the February board meeting, you would receive a financial report that ended, you know, sometime around maybe the 20th to the 25th of January instead of the end of January. So just kind of moving that process up a week earlier. And obviously you'd still be getting a full report because the dates would be consistent as we moved along. There might be some months where it's very possible that we can have a full report by that second Tuesday, but it depends on how kind of the calendar falls.
Right. And I think what we had talked about was looking at maybe doing it in arrears, maybe. I'm not sure. So anyway, I think one of the main reasons we wanted to change it wasn't that the school district has their meeting. Katharine, when is their meeting again?
It's tonight.
Right. So every month we're conflicting with that meeting, correct?
Correct.
All right. Does anybody else have any thoughts about the financials? And
So I have a question.
Go ahead, Sue.
Since
I was going to make a comment that perhaps we should move the meeting to the last Tuesday of the month.
and
Go
I,
ahead, Sue.
so since I am the CERT leader and I run the meetings and schedule the meetings, I will ask if we can move it to the third Wednesday or third Tuesday to clear the fourth Tuesday, if that, oh, well, that would not be a conflict for me, but let me put that through to the board because I'm actually writing minutes right now.
I'm pretty flexible, so whatever works for everyone. I think it's fair to, we could change the closing date of our financial reports and everything would work fine.
I'm also flexible.
So let's just, for the month of January, let's maintain our third Tuesday meeting so that we don't have us conflict. And then we can reevaluate whether or not, see if Sue has managed to clear up the fourth Tuesday, because I think that would make the least amount of waves. But
yeah,
we want to make sure that all our board members can participate. So,
okay.
Skyler, does that work?
That works great. Thank you.
It's fine
Yep.
for me.
I will get back to the board as soon as I hear. And I'm
Perfect.
sending that out tonight.
Thank you, Sue. So we are moving. Oh, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Could I squeeze in a couple of more questions to the director? It's not on the agenda, but
Yes.
we know that the audit has been delayed somewhat. I'm interested in the status of that. And also the December is the end of the fiscal year for our foundation. Could we get an update in the status of the foundation financial report fairly soon?
Yeah.
Probably maybe January would be soon enough.
Those are great requests. Let's plan on doing a foundation financial report in the January meeting. I think that can be accomplished. And then to your second question, yeah, the audit process is still ongoing. I know our auditors were here in person within the last week or so, meeting with staff. I believe we could anticipate the audit to be completed and in the board's hands by the end of January or so. And our auditors have been in good communication with us about the delay and understand on all sides that it's unfortunate, but we're still in good shape and everything is proceeding nicely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Katharine, prior to entering executive session, I'd like to move to adjust the agenda to and ask Skyler to cover the upcoming calendar items prior to entering executive session.
Do we have a second to amend the agenda?
I'll second.
Mike seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moving on to upcoming calendar items.
Yeah, so I already shared a little bit of information about the KISS 2020 Goodbye. On January 5th, which is a Tuesday, the board is scheduled to have some training. That'll be in a regular workshop form, so it will be a public meeting. No public comment will be held, but that'll be with the district council, Eileen Akins. And Eileen has asked for that training, plan on at least an hour and a half to 2 hours with her. Right now, obviously that training looks like it will be conducted virtually, but we'll keep you posted on if we're able to have an in-person meeting at that point. And then we already confirmed the January board meeting date of January 19th. Those are the only calendar items that I just wanted to make sure I shared tonight.
Can I ask a question, Skyler?
Fine by me.
Go ahead.
You know how we offered food for Thanksgiving to the community? Is there any way to mount something like that and do it around, maybe not on the 25th, but since we're shutting down, maybe offer to-go meals again? I was able to reach out to a lot of homeless people, and I think it was a wonderful opportunity. So just asking how we can help.
Sure, I think that's a great recommendation, Sue. And we haven't done that in the past, but it's not because there hasn't been a significant need there. Maybe if it's appropriate, if it's all right, I'd like to talk to some of the other partners that assisted with our Thanksgiving efforts, and also talk to staff and see if we can pull that off this year. I know the timeline is tight, obviously, but we'll do everything we can. And maybe if it doesn't work this year, or even if it does, we could plan on offering something like that next year and moving forward.
Thank you, Skyler. Executive session. Do we have a motion to move to executive session?
So I move to enter executive session for the purpose of conducting deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions pursuant to ORS 192.6601E.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Sue seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
When will you be
Aye.
back? What time should we be back?
It is now 6:20. We will shoot for 7:30.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, those that are attending the meeting, we would ask that you leave the meeting on your own volition. That makes it easier for when, or if you choose to come back. Obviously, directors and those that have been asked to stay by the directors and media, please feel free to remain. And Madam President, I don't know if you want to take a couple-minute break. Looks like we still have a few people that are still exiting the meeting, but
I think a 5-minute break would be excellent right about now.
Okay.
So be back at, let's just say 6:25.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
We certainly have gotten everyone's attention. I feel that this is going to succeed, and I was thinking about 100 years ago when the city council decided to initiate and establish the prom, which is probably the most central, most public piece of recreation area in the city. You know, it's basically a part of our city park system. Now, the city council did this with very, very stiff and vigorous resistance and opposition from the community. Yet the vision of the council has shown forward and made Seaside part of what it is today. And I think as the city council did not have in mind to fail when they established that, and I'm sure it was a lot of work with getting the right of way established through all that property that extended out to the seashore. I think we will succeed, and I think our community will not let us fail.
Thank you, Mike. Erica?
Yeah, I think that Mike's right on. You know, I really truly hope that the community can put some, you know, trust into this project. You know, we have made a commitment to do this through a financing option. We understand that the community does not, you know, there's people in the community who do not want to see taxes raised. And we are committed to making sure that that doesn't happen, right? So I truly am just asking for the community to really come together now. Let's work together. Let's work in partnership with the city. Let's work in partnership with the school district, because I agree, you know, Diane, I think you said it really great tonight, that there is an opportunity for these three groups to come together. And I think that you'll see that those three parties will come together, because all of us are invested in the community, right? We all want to see this work. So let's stay positive as much as we can, right? You know, let's try to make this work. Let's not do the opposite of trying to undercut it, because I think we know there's a need, right? So I just truly hope that people can understand how committed we are to making sure that there's revenue streams, grants, sponsorships that are going to be available to make sure this project is successful.
Thank you, Erica. Sue?
I'm trying to navigate a lot of information. I ask a lot of people what their beliefs are, what their concerns are. I have looked at the postcard and the site that was on the postcard. I have talked with children. I've talked with a person who is 100 years old. I have talked with somebody who is my age, and I appreciate input and I appreciate opinions, and I listen to all parties, not just the ones who talk the loudest. And I believe that this is a positive thing. In my heart of hearts, having been involved in this community, I really like what Mike said, because history, the prom is 100 years old this year. What an amazing piece of architecture for us to celebrate. And there are plans for the year to move forward. I also appreciate the comments of, if we look back 5-7 years from now, if we do not try to look at doing something with this structure that is available to us, I think what a loss that might be. I don't want to see a hotel. I don't want to see a strip mall go into this place. I want to see something that we can benefit our community. But I think it's really important to let our community know that we are really, truly listening, and that we're not taking public opinion to anything but true listening. And I know I'm not allowed to speak certain things, and I would just beg that there is an understanding that things will be clear. So I just want to say, hang in there, because we're all trying to get the best thing for our community, and we all have the best interest of all of our citizens from age 0 to over 100. And I am grateful to be part of this board that does take that responsibility very, very seriously. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue. Celeste?
Thanks. So I just want to say that I do understand the concerns regarding the planning and financials involving the Broadway Middle School project. And I just want to make a public pledge at this point that during my involvement on the board, we have not been in any conversations, the board members, about raising taxes. I think the board has demonstrated a commitment to figuring out alternate ways to fund this project. And so, and I think part of the challenge here is in the information sharing piece. I think one of the really difficult things to understand when I joined the Park and Rec board 4 months ago were the public information requirements. So I've had to do a lot of learning about how and what we can share. And to complicate already complicated rules, real estate transactions have another layer of privacy involved to them. And that privacy is important because you need to protect that during the negotiation process. But I want to ensure the public that the board has worked really hard through 3 phases of this project. We worked together to determine whether or not this was a path that we even wanted to walk down. Then we entered the second phase, which is the due diligence phase, and we have retained experts and public opinion and done a lot of research on our own to really contemplate whether or not this project is right for us. And then eventually we know that we're going to have to enter a third phase, which is a master plan kind of phase where we actually put details, put our pencil to the paper, do the budgets, do all the final planning. So the board I know is committed to that. And I just want to say, because I've heard some public comment that the board is not listening and is not taking into consideration things. I actually went back for a response that I gave to a citizen and calculated how much time I've spent. And I don't think other board members are dissimilar in the time they spent. So in the 3 months since we've entered this property project and been considering it, I've participated in 8 public meetings, 8 other meetings, such as those with individuals or staff or consultants or a city council meeting, et cetera. I spent in excess of 10 hours reviewing and responding to public correspondence, 40 hours reviewing documents and reports, 20 hours producing communication materials and conducting financial analysis. And I've toured the Broadway property and consulted personally with 3 experts. So by my calculation, I've spent about 110 hours of due diligence during this period for this project. And I think my fellow board members have made the same sort of investment. So I just want the public to know that we are taking our job seriously as board members for the district. And of course, this doesn't even cover the countless hours that our staff has spent preparing documents over the last 5 years. So this is not a new project. We've been working on this. We've referenced past materials. And so I just want to acknowledge the staff's part in supplying background information for us to be making this decision and to be deliberate about that. And so in closing, I'd just like to say, I think we have a really great opportunity here to do something really great for our community. So I'm super excited to see sort of what the next phase of this project holds for us.
Katharine?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say anything or am I like cut off?
That's up to me, and I believe that you can say some more if you would like to add to
No,
your
I
board
just,
comment.
yeah, it's just adding a little bit to what Celeste is saying. You know, I know people are asking, what is your business plan? What are the numbers? And I hope that you can understand that intertwined with that business plan are pieces to this negotiation that are, you know, that we can't just release at this very moment, right? But we understand that very soon, and hopefully we will be able to release that. But I just want the public to know that there is a sketched plan, you know, that we are looking at numbers, and to just, yeah, like Sue said, be patient with us and we'll get there as a group.
Thanks, Erica. I would just like to reiterate everything that my fellow board members have said tonight. We're all in concert. We're all working towards the future. We all have a vision. We are currently in a real estate transaction that we have to keep certain things close to the vest. But we are working for the greater good of Seaside, for all its citizens, for all the businesses, for all the people that live and work and play here. And that is our vision, to better our community. I thank everyone for attending, for all the opinions and comments that they have shared. It is heard. We do value it. We just can't necessarily disclose everything at this moment, but it will all become very clear shortly. Thank you, everyone, and I hope that you have a wonderful night. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.